Howdy, folks. Today we're talking about power-ups, magic items, fantasy creatures, weapons and gadgets, and any of the best in-game items that you'd pick to have in real life. And nope, this is not an AI voice. It's a me, YAFONOOB. I've been playing video games for a long time, and I thought it'd be a fun experiment to think about all the amazing items that I've ever used in games, and which ones would I pick to have in real life. I know that sounds simple enough, right? Well, it's not. At least not for my ADHD brain. I'm obsessed with the ramifications of any possible pick that I might make. It literally took me weeks in real life to come up with my final decision. And to be honest, even now while I'm writing this, I'm not quite convinced that I've chosen the right item. I also asked a bunch of other gamers from around the world what they would pick, and some of them came up with brilliant ideas that I'm going to share with you. But first, let's talk about how tricky this decision was for me. I really thought this through because, let's be real, some items would get me arrested or killed or would cause absolute chaos. A lightsaber? Sure, is cool, but what would I actually use it for? And don't even try getting that through an airport security. A dragon sounds awesome until it eats the neighbor's dog, torches the investigating police car, and where will it live, in my basement? I thought perhaps a teleportation device would be awesome, but eventually some random security camera would watch me blinking in and out of existence, and then soon I'd hear, bang, 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 FBI, open up. A magic ring of invisibility would be sweet, but again, the exact same problems with security cameras. Time travel? Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun until I make changes and accidentally wipe out our planet or change the evolution of humans. That's just too much power and too much responsibility for me. Owning the Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon would be unbelievably amazing until I realize I have no idea how to operate a starship. Also, I can't just park it in orbit around the Earth without every government trying to shoot it down. I certainly can't land it on the planet without being killed and then the feds confiscating it. So I'd be stuck living alone on a giant ship I don't know how to fly. I'd never be able to set foot on Earth again. Am I taking this too seriously? Probably. Maybe something fun and simple. What about a flying skateboard, a jetpack, an armored Kuruma? But then, how many videos of me on TikTok before the government or some random comes and steals them from me? I love Magic the Gathering, and there's plenty of artifacts that could be real game changers, but how would they work? An artifact that creates copies of whatever it's attached to would be cool, but in real life, what's a turn? How would mana work? How would tapping work? A Star Trek phaser would be a fun and iconic choice, but even on the stun setting, I'd be arrested for assault, and if I have the dials wrong, it's murder. Star Wars droids would be helpful and fun, but how am I going to explain having a working C-3PO after they've arrested me and confiscated it? What about weapons? The first time I fire the BFG from Doom, I'd be on the FBI top 10 list in minutes. Whatever it is I pick, once the government of the worlds hear that I'm bending the laws of physics, I'd be signing up for a lifetime of hiding, and once I am caught, secret lab testing and dissection, and no thank you. So as you can see, I've really put a lot of thought into my choice, which I'm going to reveal soon, but first, let's hear about what these other gamers chose. I'm going to start the list off with my Jemmy Wemmy's pick. She put a lot of thought into it too, just like I did, and I honestly think that she may have come up with one of the very best ideas. She said, I would pick the lamp from Disney's Aladdin, the Sega Genesis video game. I don't have to worry about the genie being a bad genie, because we all know he's nice, and he wouldn't pull out some creepy or horrific Wishmaster movie stuff. Man, I love this idea. Not only does she get multiple things, 3 wishes, but she can wait on her decisions until she's really in the need. She's so sweet, she even said that she'd only use 2 of the wishes, then she'd use her 3rd wish to free the genie. I'm sniffling right now, but it's just an allergy. Are you interested in knowing what her other first 2 wishes would be? You could ask her at Jemmy Wemmy. Our friend DJ Kiara said that she'd pick the horse from Red Dead Redemption. She said it will come to you whenever or wherever you want. She also thought about the Oppressor MK2 from GTA 5. It's a motorcycle chassis mounted on a jet engine that can hover or take off at lightning quick speed. It's basically a saddle on a rocket engine. It's interesting that she picked two methods of travel. I've used the oppressor in GTA, and if I can control it as well out of the game as I do in the game, I'd have a good chance of being bent around a tree the first time that I take it out. If I was going to pick a vehicle from a game, I might pick the armored Kuruma from GTA. Unfortunately, it looks armored, so I'm pretty sure the police would be stopping me all the time. Jamie, the gamer, said that they would pick the stylus from Scribblenauts. I could create anything with it and end world hunger in a month, they said. And that is perhaps the most altruistic response of anybody that I asked. So way to go, Jamie. DJ Audi said he'd pick his own personal Gundam. These retro anime robots are huge, some as tall as a 6-story building and even bigger. They're not your typical robots that do your own bidding. They have a cockpit, and they're piloted from inside like a high-tech bipedal tank. They're also heavily armored with beam rifles, poleaxes, axe swords, shields, and more. They're powered by a nuclear core, sort of like an aircraft carrier. Oh, and did I mention some of them can fly? I'm trying to imagine what DJ Adi is going to be doing with his own ginormous weaponized battle robot. Maybe take over the world? Let's just hope he has a very tall garage. Our good buddy Rocker Steve chose the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War, and he explained his decision with, "That's pretty cool." For anyone who has not played of Gears of War, the Hammer of Dawn is a coalition of ordered governments, army and union of independent republics, infantry, orbital, satellite-based laser composed of emulsion crystals. It's essentially a space-based death ray with the power to destroy entire cities. So whatever he will actually end up doing with this death ray gun is questionable. And unfortunately for Steve, it also needs to be charged, and even more unfortunately, it requires satellites to be in orbit, powered, and aligned before it can fire. So if the satellites are offline, out of position, or lack energy, the weapon becomes a fancy paperweight. But I'll give it to you, it still will look cool. At RockerSteve01, he creates a lot of retro Vice City videos amongst other things, so make sure to check him out. Judo Chop, aka Dojo Dave. You know what? I'm just going to paste exactly what he said here because he says it perfectly and it's just too funny. I was thinking Laura Croft from earlier games. She's clever at working up puzzles and swinging about, jumping and climbing. Also, she's good with handguns she had and was pretty fit in the eyes of teenage boys. She wouldn't really attract much negative reactions from the government or police, etc., but I bet she could rob banks for me and make me rich. Yep, to know Dave is to love Dave. At legend _of Mike from Instagram, he said, it has to be the ocarina from the Legend of Zelda series. It's basically a magic flute that gives you magic powers including teleport, the power to change the time of day from day to night, the power to make it rain, the power to go 3 days back in time, the power to make copies of yourself, and more. Well, that is a cool gadget. Mike really thought it out, and he came up with a hell of a cool item to have in real life. Mr. C. Jonesy said, I would have whatever piece of equipment is bolted to Mario's cart that allows him to shoot stuff at other cars. And you might find it humorous when I tell you that Chris is actually a professional truck driver in real life, amongst other things. The Undiscovered Gamer at UDG111 told me that they would pick the Karambit knife from Counter-Strike 2. He said he really liked the amazing color patterns, especially the blue gem skin. I checked it out, and he's right. It's a nice-looking knife. And in fact, I read it's one of the most sought-after and expensive knives in the game due to its sleek design and flashy animations. At Vixie1988 came up with this clever idea that my wife said was pretty cool. I'd like to have the ability, like in The Sims, to just be able to decorate a room in seconds, which would make my life easier. Also, having a worm from Worms with a tiny bazooka by my side might be helpful to shoo pesky people away. Kamikaze! But then she thought for a few more moments and she decided on a magic animal. She said, I want Spyro, the dragon, as a pet and to transport stuff. So I was curious. I had never heard of Spyro. I looked him up and I discovered that he eats butterflies to maintain his health. There's another version of Spyro, A Hero's Tale, where he eats gems. So not sure where Vix is going to be getting all those butterflies or gems to feed her poor hungry dragon, not to mention trying to get Spyro licensed and chipped, but still an amazing pick. Imagine bringing Spyro to a dog show as a new breed. Caboose the Man, a pro Call of Duty player, said, I'd want a set of T-60 power armor from Fallout 4. I wouldn't be able to power it, but I think it would be so much fun to own. Not to mention, he'd probably be very popular wearing it at cosplay conventions. Lou from the UK said, the answer to your question would be the hidden blade from Assassin's Creed. I think it's the most awesome item ever. I'm sure being in the UK with a dagger up the sleeve won't cause too many problems. I do agree, though, that it would be a cool little weapon to own. Delinquent came up with a pretty cool idea that could benefit science. His exact quote is, I'd say a Pokeball from Pokemon, because the idea of storing large animals inside a small compact area means that it can help research technology to do it with all kinds of other data forms. Imagine having a whole house just in your pocket. Here's what Max from England chose as his personal item from any game. The Doom Sword. Man, I used to play Doom when it first came out, way back in the day. I didn't remember this item, so I did some research. It's called the Crucible. It's a weapon powered by the raw energy of hell itself. Its red glowing blade is covered in hellish runes. It's said to be one of the only weapons capable of neutralizing a Titan. However, the Titan will rise again if the Crucible blade is ever removed from its body, so the wielder of the sword will break the handle off, leaving the blade embedded in the body of the Titan. I'm not sure how many Titans there are that are living in England right now, but if there are any, Max will have that situation covered. DJ Andy said, it's a toss-up between either the Tanuki suit from the Mario games, which looks like a raccoon, gives you the ability to fly, turn into a statue for 5 seconds, and allows you to attack enemies with the flick of a tail or by stomping on them, or the Elytra from Minecraft, which is worn around the torso and allows gliding by jumping while in midair. Firework rockets can be used as propulsion while gliding, allowing for true flight. I'm seeing a recurring theme here. Andy really wants to fly. Dawn, the writer, motivational speaker, and poet from donvincent.co.uk, first thought an infinite supply of red shells from Mario Kart to use while she's driving, which blows me away that two different people came up with this same thing. But then, after a few moments of reconsideration, she decided on Revali's Gale from Zelda Breath of the Wild, so that, in her own words, I could paraglide away from situations. It's basically a hang glider that creates its own wind. This seems like such a fun and interesting pick. Also, if you're careful and you only used it in private or where there's existing wind, it might be possible to not draw too much attention to yourself. So, who's left to ask? I was curious what my good buddy ChatGPT would come up with. So I asked AI, and here was the super clever idea. If I were human that could have any item from any game, I'd go for the portal gun from Portal. It's insanely useful. I could use it for instant travel to human things, like work and school. I could avoid traffic. I could use it for fun and pranks, emergency escape routes, spelunking, deep sea and deep space exploration, teleport to Mars, no problem, and possibly even unlimited energy by setting up an infinite fall loop with a generator to create free power. Well, I can't think of many things better than that. Well, now we've come to the part where I reveal what I would pick from all of the games that I've ever played. It's small, it's lightweight, it doesn't appear valuable, I can have it with me all the time, and it would never be taken away from me, even if I needed to go through security, like flying. It's called the Ring of Gax from Baldur's Gate. This magical ring bestows the wearer with various protections and the ability to cast spells. Once per day, this ring grants the ability to become invisible for up to 12 hours. 3 times per day, the ring allows the wearer to cast improved haste, doubling movement speed for 10 seconds. This ring grants the wearer 100% immunity to poisons and all diseases. The wearer constantly regenerates 1 hit point every 3 seconds. Also, it gives you a +2 armor class bonus and +2 to your saving throws, which will make it harder for you to be hit or to take damage. So, being harder to hit, I'd recover faster, I couldn't be poisoned, I couldn't become inflicted by diseases, I'd be super fast and invisible. Sounds like exactly the type of thing that I'd have forever and then eventually pass down to my loved ones when I'm ready to kick the bucket. So, you've heard what these other gamers picked, and now you've heard my choice. Please share what item you would pick from any game below because I would absolutely love to hear about it.